How we doing? Good sound? Ooh, okay, there we go. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here in Sisters. I'm joined today by local leaders, local elected leaders, state elected leaders, members of my agency leadership, incident command team leads here in Sisters because I'm here to see what's happening on the ground for the Akawa Butte Fire that has been raging here for more than a week. So I want to start off, first of all, by thanking all of the firefighters, the first responders, the volunteers, the community leaders, everyone who is responding to this critical incident here in Central Oregon and across our state. We have right now 1,200 fires, 1,200 fires statewide have burned over 570,000 acres. There are people across the state right now protecting homes, protecting people, protecting the landscape, and I'm very proud of Oregonians right now, and I want to say that I am thankful for them and thankful for the folks who are also in their home communities, because we have structural firefighters from across the state who are responding to conflagration orders, which means they are coming from their home communities, and other folks are backing them up in their home communities to deal with any kind of emergency incidents back home. We have crews from other states. We have help from California and Nevada and Washington and Florida. And we also have a crew coming from Australia and New Zealand next week. This is all hands on deck. Here in Oregon, we are at National Preparedness Level 5, PL5, which means all resources, all hands on deck, the entire state. Just to give you some context, the rest of the country is also at the PL5 level as well. We're in July. We're seeing August conditions because of drought, because of weather, and this is a moment where Oregonians have to come together to defend our communities, to help each other out, and that's why I'm here today, to see how everyone is coming together. So let me tell you a little bit about the day that I've had so far. I started off the day with a briefing at the fairgrounds here in Sisters, where the staging is, and heard from all of the folks behind me who are on the incident command team, as well as the local sheriff's department, our partners in the federal government, other organizations that are part of the coordinated response here in Central Oregon. Then I visited with some of the crew that are there. For example, met a crew who are here from Marion County Fire, a crew who's just here from the coast that is coming to serve for structural defense, and some folks who have just come up from California. Everyone is here to help Oregon, and I think we can all be very proud of the professionalism and the talent and expertise that is fighting the fires here in Oregon right now. So after I visited with some of the crews, I went up to the Hinkle Butte Fire Tower. That's a traditional historical fire tower that is still operated. There is still a crew there. I met with Jill. Jill is the person who actually saw the fire start for the Akawa Butte Fire. We talked about, looked over the landscape and got a better sense of what is happening across the area. Remember, this is like a 6-mile defense line just north of Sisters to keep this community safe. After that, I visited the Red Cross shelter at Sisters High School. I want to thank all the volunteers, also some from out of state, serving with the Red Cross to serve survivors who have had to evacuate. We have community members who are in level 3 evacuation, level 2, playing it safe and leaving also at level 2. So people are being served at the Sisters High School here through the Red Cross. I want to thank them for their effort as well. We can't do this without them. Then I sat down for lunch to talk about what the situation here is at Akawa Butte, but also in other parts of the state. And we had a good conversation about what can we be doing now, but more importantly, what do we do in the future so we can continue to respond when fire is on the landscape and we know it's there, get out there as soon as we can. We talked a lot about the crews, making sure we have the people. You could have all the air and fire engines but you need people. You need people to keep people safe. You need people to work on the lines. And we have everyone right now pulling together. We have every resource across the state. And I know people feel like, well, I see a fire and no one's on it. We are strategically deploying resources across the state to keep people safe, to keep property safe, to keep the, do as much as we can on the landscape. But there is a lot going on, and this is a very dynamic situation. Right now, we've got crews doing great lines on Akawa Butte, but the wind could be picking up, so we are on top of everything, trying to stay ahead of it. But it is a challenging situation. I want to just point out that we've had a lot of support from our federal partners as well, and our congressional delegation has been briefed, is on top of this. Congressman Bentz, Congresswoman Bynum, and Senators Merkley and Wyden are very aware of the situation, not only here in Central Oregon, but other parts of the state. Right now, it is up to all of us as Oregonians to support our firefighters and our first responders across the state who are managing and dealing with this crisis. And by that, I mean, do your part as individually. If you're in an area where there is fire, be paying attention to the alerts, know your evacuation plan, know where you need to go. The sooner people can move to safety, the easier it is for the firefighters to do their job. Throughout the state, we have high drought conditions, we have wind conditions and other weather conditions that if we see more lightning strikes, we will see more fires. Let's make sure that people are not causing fires. So know what the fire situation is in your community. Please act accordingly. No open burning. Watch what you're doing when you're out on your lawnmower. This is really important, people. Mother Nature might start some fires, but let's try to not be the ones starting the fires in our communities. That is really important because we need to keep our resources where they are most needed at the moment. So on the Akawa Butte Fire, that now stands at 27,000 acres. Containment is around 5%. I know you've seen that the fire behavior has been creating really dynamic effects here with the 200-foot flame length, as well as the pyrocumulus cloud from the other day creating its own lightning storm. Again, I think our biggest concern in the next couple of days will be wind, given the conditions, and we're going to try to be prepared for that. There are over 1,100 firefighters assigned to this fire. That's how big it is. And again, it is the highest priority fire in the nation right now, which allows us to tap into resources from other states and other countries. And so we are putting everything on it. I also know that we have several other fires across the state that are incredibly complex. Just a little north and east of here, we have the Roe River Complex that is reaching up as far as Fossil and down south to Prineville. Very large complex of multiple fires that have joined. That is a top priority as well for us here in the state, and we're doing our best to keep it contained. For those of you who are not signed up yet, now's a good time to go to oralert.gov to sign up for notifications to know when there's a fire emergency in your community. If you'd like to follow the updates for all the fires and see the maps, you can go to wildfire.oregon.gov for more information. And then I think I'll just end by saying that Oregon has tremendous resources here. We have incredibly professional crews. We have lots of contractors who are ready to fight. We're doing everything we can. It is very important for people to take that time and effort to also be responsible for themselves. Do what you can to prepare your home. Be prepared to evacuate if you have to. Please do everything not to start new fires. And we have a long summer yet ahead of us. It is, like I said, it is July. We're seeing fire conditions that we normally see in August. And that 570,000 plus acres that have burned already now on July 24th, our 10-year average is 600,000. So we're already almost at our 10-year average of acres burned in the state. So people need to stay safe. They need to support everyone who's doing the work. And we're going to get through this together. And I really want to thank the folks who are with me and everyone who's out on the line right now. You're keeping us safe. You're keeping our community safe. And we really, really appreciate it. So thank you. And I'll take some questions. Thank you for that question. So as I've mentioned earlier at the fire briefing back in May, we do have an Oregon National Guard crew that is prepared. think of them as they are not the type that will start out right out at the beginning of a fire. They're a crew that once a fire has gotten to a certain level of containment, they will come in and help mop up, which allows us to send other crews with different skills to different places. So we have not used the Oregon National Guard in that capacity yet. However, their short haul medevac unit is up in Pendleton, supporting that community. I would suspect before the end of the season we'll see National Guard out to help with some of the cleanup over some of the big fires while we are fighting other fires. Well, the question around cost is my priority right now is to make sure we keep people safe and use every resource we have. The legislature does have some emergency allocation to for fire costs, and so that is we'll be taking that issue up with them. The other thing is we learned from previous fire seasons that we need more flexibility during fire season, so we will be able to stay on top of our bills for our contracts and our vendors because they need to be paid, and we have more ability to do that. But I do believe that fire season and the cost of fire season will have to be taken up before the end of the year by the legislature, at least in some form or fashion. This is going to be an expensive fire season.
What's the state doing to make sure Central Oregon has all the resources it needs to battle blaze across several counties, several counties?
Yeah, I want to say to the folks who live in Central Oregon, we are well aware that you are seeing fire on the landscape, fire that we can fight right away, and fires that are also being left because homes and people are not at risk. But here's the thing, I have declared an emergency across the state. That allows the flexibility we need to move resources. The folks here are allocating and distributing resources in the best way possible. We're fortunate here in Oregon that we have, even in the state of Oregon, since 6 incident command teams. Those are our people that we trained. We're like, I would say, tops in the nation for our ability to have our own people on the ground. And they are all stretched thin right now, in addition to the other work we're getting from the state. So please know that if you are seeing fire in your community, the folks who are on top of this are making sure that we are getting the resources we can get to your community. I don't know if anyone wants to speak about Crook County in particular. Anything new?
Yeah, Mariana Reese Temple, Oregon State Fire Marshal. As it relates to this region in Crook County, it is a tough weather day for both the fires, and I think the whole region is stressed. And I know between the Department of Forestry, State Forester Casey, myself, and the Director of OEM, those are conversations that we had to strategically plan for what's expected for the next 24-48, provide resources as necessary, and triage the entire state of Oregon. So those are cadence of meetings that occur daily in our center, and how we manage and prioritize fires, not only in Crook County, but the region and at the state level.
Thank you. And we are putting every resource out there that we can safely, because number one for us is the safety of the crews as well, to make sure they can come home. Well, it's my understanding that I've lost 2 homes in the Akawa Butte Fire, and I know more structures than that. So who has the structure number?
I can hand it over to Ops to talk a little bit about where the fire is threatening structures, but to date in the state of Oregon, we're at approximately 15 primary structures lost across the state of Oregon through all the wildland fires to date, and around 70 outbuildings. We do expect that those are going to go up in the next couple of days, just based on the fire activity and where fire is around structures. And I'll hand it over to Ops to talk specifically about structures.
Steve Chapman, Oregon State Fire Marshal's Red Team Ops. So we've got houses. I'm going to roll over here. I like to touch the map. So Wilt Road, Indian Ford Road, and then there's Stevens Canyon Road. There's a lot of structures down here. If you look at the map, they're not on the map, but Division Whiskey, Yankee, and Tango. We've got structures up here. We've got structures all down the south side of the fire. That's where it was blowing up the other day. So it was coming down this direction, and with the wind that's predicted this morning, it was when Governor was up on the hill. It was blowing. We had some favorable winds, which is great, but the predicted winds is just going to come in from here and really push these lines hard. So that's why we're really got a lot of crews out here trying to hold this line and then bulk it up and get ready for the wind event.
And I thought one of the things I learned today that's very impressive is just the coordination here on the ground. I want to call out the Deschutes County Sheriff, for example. They are using volunteers with search and rescue to go door to door to make sure people are aware if they're not on the alert system. We have structural firefighters going to homes that if they are in a position where they have been, more fire ready, making sure that their gutters are clean and other things like that. So if there are any embers, we can protect homes. So there's a lot of prep work going on as well to do as best we can if the fire does move in that direction.
Thank you, Casey, State Forester for Oregon Department of Forestry. There's a national level ordering system, so there are multiple geographic areas that make up the nation. All those geographic areas, when they are tapped, when all of their resources are out, there's a coordination group, so the states are involved, our federal partners, our federal agencies, multiple entities come together in a large group, leadership group, and they're looking at priorities across all states. And what's that number one priority based on homes, structures, all kinds of different values. And so they're daily looking at that and prioritizing. And they're also looking at the preparedness levels. Those preparedness levels are not always based on every single asset being out, but all of that overhead that's able to manage these fires being out.
One other thing about resources, last night the Trump administration declared, gave approval to FMAG status for the Akawa Butte Fire. FMAG stands for Fire Management Assistance Grant, which allows us to have the federal government pick up 75% of the cost and we pick up 25% of the cost. So when you see that level of commitment from the federal government, you know this is a big fire.
So out with Central Oregon Daily News. Last year, Sisters was also threatened by the flat fire, and now this year it's this fire. You mentioned earlier how it's work not just for this year responding to the fires, but work for the future. So are there any specifics in terms of plans or ideas in terms of helping limit the threat of wildfires for this community in the future?
I'm going to pass that off to our local leaders, but I will say, and I want to recognize that we have a lot of folks in this community being re-traumatized after the flat fire from last year and now with Akawa Butte. But the resilience and hope in the community, knowing that people are prepared and are addressing the issue is very clear, and this community is prepared and ready as much as you can be when you have a giant fire on your doorstep. But there are some local issues going on, so I don't know if... How about we go with our fire chief?
I'm Tony Pryor, the fire chief for Sisters Camp Sherman. We're doing a lot of work with homeowners in some of those areas that have been impacted and what they can do in the future. So our focus has shifted from, we're still doing our day job, but prevention and mitigation efforts ahead of time when the fires hit. So that's really our focus, what we're doing here, so that we can get out there and do work ahead of time so people are prepared.
And as you know, that fire is now the new normal on the landscape, so we have community leaders thinking about building codes and what we can be doing in each individual community, and the state is stepping up to provide grants and assistance, and I want to thank the Oregon legislature for having some dedicated funding to do that. We're going to have to do more of that in the state to keep communities like Sisters safe in the future.
Got a virtual question here from Natisius Northwest. They say, Governor, given that Oregon is currently in wildfire season, are you concerned that the anti-sanctuary proclamation in Douglas County could affect trust between some immigrant communities and local law enforcement or emergency responders, potentially making people less likely to seek assistance or comply with evacuation orders during the emergency? What can the state do?
Well, I do know that our Oregon alert system can be in multiple languages, and I really encourage people to sign up. As far as the resolution in Douglas County, as far as I know, and what I will say is sanctuary law is still the law of the land, regardless of the resolution in Douglas County. Well, at this point, I'm not calling for a special session. I have declared a statewide emergency so we can be as flexible with the dollars we do have. The legislature will have its regular meeting of the Legislative Emergency Board in September. There are dollars already allocated for fire suppression for this fire season they could tap into right now. And then we'll have to watch. Many of these costs don't get calculated till after the event. We'll have to know how much the federal government will be contributing to these fires. We are seeking FMAG status on at least one other fire right now, which would be the Rogue River Complex to the north and northeast of us, because that is our first mega fire of the season. And I forget, but it is hundreds of thousands of acres, and we're going to need federal support there. So it's hard to tell what the number should be until we understand how the federal government's going to be joining us to cover the costs.
Yeah, I'm wondering if anybody here can quantify shortage of personnel. Like, I know resources equipment spread thin, but someone describe like the number of personnel we do have statewide versus what you ideally would want to have to fight many fires around the state.
Kyle Williams, Deputy Director of Fire Operations, Oregon Department of Forestry. That's a great question. So each fire works through an ordering process, as the state forester mentioned. You submit your orders that day. It goes up to the regional level, and they shop it around and see if there's any available. I did not catch it yesterday, but 2 days ago we had 157 unable to fill orders for middle managers. So that kind of puts into perspective how many of those folks. That's every fire combined in Region 6, which is Oregon and Washington, but that was the number.
And just to be clear on the middle management piece, those are folks who have been certified over multiple seasons to be able to provide the leadership on these fires for safety reasons. And we have to have a larger pipeline of those individuals to the future. But again, having some support from other states, they can bring in some of their middle managers who are ready for the job. So we're doing the best we can, but you can't make people out of nothing right away. So we're doing the best to move all the resources as strategically as possible.
Governor, do you think the village sites have directly affected our state's ability to do wildfire mitigation, land management, and firefighting as these type of movements across the state?
Well, I do think in terms of fire response, we have seen consistency from the federal government. There's been some restructuring of who's with whom at the national level. But here on the ground in Oregon, strong collaborative relationships with our federal partners to fight fire, whether it's BLM, U.S. Forest Service, we're working together really well. I do believe that what we have seen now, the Trump administration, that has been a challenge is the reduction in the hazard mitigation grants. These were grants that have traditionally come along with suppression dollars to, reduce the fuel on the landscape, help prepare the landscape. Those dollars are not flowing for the last couple of years. That is a problem because if we can get ahead and prepare the landscape better and reduce the fuels, then we can reduce the size of these fires going forward. So we hope that the Trump administration revisits that, and I know our congressional delegation supports that because they know that's really important.
You mentioned earlier you visited the Red Cross shelter at Sisters High School. Were there any specific concerns from people who were evacuated that you heard, and how would the state go about addressing those concerns or issues that people are having out there?
Yeah, again, I want to thank the volunteers with the Red Cross. To know you have a place to be that's cool and you can be with other folks is really important right now. That community is important. What I heard is confidence in the people who were fighting, but also, just concern. I met a couple that had built their homes 40 years ago and would like that home to be there when this is all over. And these are very human stories. We have, there were a lot of pets at the shelter, and I want to appreciate the fact that they can bring pets because no one's going to leave home if they can't bring their dogs or their cats with them. So it is very much a community response. People are being patient. They have confidence in the folks who are fighting the fires, and obviously they'd like to go home soon, and we'll just see how it goes. Well, thank you very much. If you have any other questions, we have lots of folks from the information officers you can follow up. So thank you, and thanks for being here.